Welcome back. Now, the Federal Reserve of Kansas City is holding its annual Economic Policy Symposium at Jackson Hole from Thursday to Saturday, and the Fed Chair Janet Yellen will be speaking later today. The belief is that FOMC's hawkish members don't matter because Yellen is an ultra-dove, and markets seem to be positioned for Yellen to be ultra-dovish at Jackson Hole. Now, let's talk to VOA Channels TV business correspondent in New York City, Jill Maladrino, to give us a sense of what the mood is like out there ahead of the speech. Good afternoon, Jill. Well, it's morning out there where you are, so good morning, Jill. Now, Jill, if you're hearing me, overall, it looks like the markets are positioned for the Fed staying dovish as Janet Yellen speaks at the annual Economic Policy Symposium today. Is the dovish sentiment still on the table?
Well, the formal topic of her remarks, the Federal Reserve's Monetary Policy Toolkit, implies a technical focus on the challenges facing the central bank in an era of tepid growth and low inflation. Investors view the probability of a September hike at roughly 30%, according to pricing in Fed funds futures markets, versus 20% this time last week. Strong U.S. hiring in June and July has eased concerns that a weak spot in May was a harbinger of a downturn in the labor market, while recent comments from Fed officials have been pretty upbeat. August's U.S. employment report is scheduled for release September 2nd, and I think that's also going to be a deciding factor as the Fed remains very data dependent.
Now, two of U.S. Fed members, Stanley Fischer and William Dudley, are expressly hawkish about raising rates. Will these two be able to sway Janet Yellen?
Well, in addition, Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas President Esther George repeated her case on Bloomberg last night that higher rates were warranted with the U.S. nearing full employment and inflation rising toward the central bank's target. Dallas Fed Chief Robert Kaplan also said that the case is strengthening for another increase. In addition, minutes of Fed discount rate minutes released last week showed the board of directors at 8 of the 12 regional Fed banks last month saw a quarter-point increase in the rate on direct loans from the U.S. Central Bank to about 1.25%. It was the first time since policymakers raised the benchmark federal funds rate in December that the majority of the Fed's regional boards backed a discount rate increase, so it is pretty likely we should see something in 2016.
All right, thank you very much, Jill, for your time. We'll sure keep an eye on that speech and see what comes out of it. Thank you, Jill Maladrino, VOA Channels TV business correspondent there. Now let's cross over to our own market now, the FMDQ OTC interbank market for Naira trading today, and a dealer with FSDH Merchant Bank, Collins Akinemehen, joins me now. Good afternoon, Collins.
Good afternoon.
Now, it's the third day since the central bank, of course, announced a ban on some banks from forex operations. How much impact has that had on the Naira-dollar trade on the interbank market? We have seen the Naira depreciate above the 400 Naira psychological level on the parallel markets. What's happening right now at the interbank market?
Okay. Thank you. The implication of the ban is that the number of players in the FX market through whom end users can access FX in the near term would reduce. What that will mean is that there will be an increase in demand for those banks who were not affected by this ban. However, that doesn't mean that the aggregate demand in the system would increase as a result of front-loading of such tendencies. However, the primary issue really is that the lingering supply gap, which we've seen for a while, would have to be addressed before every other thing falls in place. So to answer the question regarding what market is doing currently, it's still around 306 thereabouts where CBN has intervened in recent times. Because in the last 2 weeks, we've seen CBN sell as much as $16 million to the market, similar to what it sold in the preceding period as well of 2 weeks.
All right, thank you very much, Collins, for that update you've given to us there. Thank you very much for your time. And that's on that note that we draw the curtain on today's edition of the program, and of course for the week. Thank you very much for watching, and do have a beautiful weekend.